mistakes, or if we will have a repeat and have SBENU pick up their second match win. But no surprise here, first ban out the gate. It's going to be that Lee Sin. Do not want that in the hands of Flawless. So they do go ahead and take that one away from him. It's going to be Nidalee. No surprise, we've seen so much of her lately, and this is just going to continue the trend of Nidalee getting completely shut out of these games. I think the last time that we saw her in the last couple weeks was the SKT versus Rocks game.
Yeah. Came out.
Blank got it.
Did not win.
They did not win. So Nidalee is not an instant win for your team.
All right, so Kindred, Nidalee, and I hope we see that Graves ban last year. Sure, it's going to leave some power picks up, but again, we saw the power that the Afrika Freaks showed and the intelligence of their draft in banning out these high damage farming junglers, because if Ambition can't get his hands and really carry the team fighting on a high DPS jungler, then the rest of Samsung's damage is pretty much just Crown. For the most part, Core and Kuve have not been, I guess, contributing to the damage percentage of the team as much as many other players at their position. And that means that they just don't have the damage necessary to win some of these team fights. And the Graves ban, so they're following in Afrika's footsteps. There has been a blueprint given about how to beat Samsung.
Yep, so 3 jungles banned away by SBENU, looking to shut down Ambition as hard as humanly possible.
They might just take the Gragas and force Ambition onto a possible Elise pick here, where he is not... You know Ambition likes to farm. Elise is an early ganking jungler. If you are just going to say, okay, Ambition, you're going to farm, well, then I'm going to farm with a better team fighting and late game jungler and Gragas at the same time, and we'll just meet you in these team fights, and we have confidence that we're going to be able to win.
Yeah, pick up that Elise, you're really limiting yourself, like you said, as far as the team fights goes compared to the Gragas. Have to be much more pick reliant. Try to get those cocoons and just melt out a target and then pick your fight in a 5v4 scenario. But now we could see it will be the Owlstar and Gragas locked in for the side of SBENU, so just going for consistency, I should say.
And just for the record, we are on patch 6.5, so
yeah, on the 6.6 quite just yet.
Yeah, the Echo hovers there. That may be something that comes up more frequently.
Yeah, he's getting
next patch.
Some decent little tweaks to his E and his passive, some more movement speed as he gets those triple procs.
And he already had buffs earlier on the
yeah.
CDR and his Q, so he's going to be probably in a better place overall, but it will be just pretty standard Elise and Corki picks for Samsung.
Yeah, so nothing too shocking about the Corki, and if I'm mistaken, I don't think he's getting changed at all in 6.6 either. I think Corki's still remaining the same.
I would have to look, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's not being changed, which is relatively surprising considering how much priority we've seen for him and how much damage he's able to output in the mid game on forward, even through the late game. Corki's burst against, you know, mid-range tanks and squishier targets is absolutely absurd. I know I've been using him to carry myself through my solo queue games,
nice.
So it's quite nice.
We could see the Gangplank here, whether it's going to Sassen or Soul remains to be seen, but definitely a good matchup into Poppy. And they're switching it over. The Trundle's been banned, so Nautilus definitely a safe pick in that top lane, but I think if you can get the GP up there, it's going to be pretty good. And they've been trolling us with that Jarvan ever since he got buffed.
One day.
SBENU has been hovering it. I actually thought it was a good pick for an all-in lane for Sassen. I think you could easily snowball off of an AD Jarvan right now, and especially against a Varus. Oh yeah.
Ooh,
yes.
Here we go.
Play mid lane Jarvan against Varus. Do it.
That would be pretty devastating. I mean, what are you going to do? Just brute him inside of the Cataclysm on top of your face?
That's right.
So, it's basically a guaranteed flash off the Cataclysm.
Yeah, he has no escapes. So, but that said, the last time Crown played Varus, he was extremely good. Again, game 1 against the Afrika Freaks, he really showed up, hit some very long-range chains of corruptions, I should say. And it proved highly effective, but Ambition not on one of his big carry jungle picks. And yes, that is what I want to see. Do it, Sassen.
The only thing that scares me here is that this would be a very
AD-centric.
Yeah, exactly. Very AD-centric.
I mean, honestly, the burst is so incredibly high that, especially when you have all the armor penetration from Gangplank, that I think you can actually run this pretty well effectively, even if they stack armor.
True. Very true. So Sassen just flipping around, showing that there's still a couple champions he has not played that he's willing, that may be willing to. We come back to this Jarvan, though. I really want to see this locked in. Ah, damn you. It's going to be Lissandra in the end. I got excited.
It's a good all-in champion, of course.
Sure.
If you're going to start picking up kills against Varus, and you can really threaten the backline. SBENU has a ton of backline threat here. Sivir is actually one of the best champions to have against a poke composition right now because she can crit the backline with her Ricochet so effectively. And I was actually just raging to you before the broadcast about this. I was getting really mad because I was watching the Rocks Tigers SK Telecom game from last week, and there was one dragon fight in game 1 that I really think SK Telecom should have won, but Prey got a Ricochet crit onto Azir, Faker's Azir in the backline.
Plus static shift.
And then there was a static shift crit on the next auto, and then there was another Ricochet that managed to kill Faker from about a 1/3 HP. So those three things. Faker was sitting at the far back of the team fight, and I was like, this should not be allowed to happen. But that is the reality of Sivir right now, and against a poke composition, you're going to take crits in that back line, and all she has to do is stand there and auto-attack Poppy, and all of a sudden your Varus and Corki are going to melt too.
Yeah. Very strong pickup. Glad to see her coming back in. Maybe needs a couple of tweaks, though, because she's really disgusting.
She's really broken right now. I really think she is extremely good, especially when we have these big tank lines. It's basically just a free pass to damage on the back line where you don't have to kill the tanks and you can just mop up the tanks after the AD carry, and any junglers or mid laners you have in the back have been mopped up.
Yep, basically just playing connect the dots with your ricochets. Yep. Drawing a line of death is all that you're doing. But coming up is game 1 here, Samsung versus SBENU. We're getting on the Rift. A lot of gusto coming out from those SBENU fans, trying to give them as much of a bolster to their confidence as they possibly can. As we can see, we have Samsung Galaxy versus Samsung Blue. Those tags always throw me for a loop when I get in there.
That's right.
It's like, oh, this reminds me of a time since past.
Oh,
Secret getting engaged on already. Flashes away from the Foss Bomb. That's not a good look for SBENU. Bad way to start.
Right. Lissandra gonna yell some stuff. And yeah, they have to force that flash early. Of course, the Braum being there at the choke with the 2 AD carries means they got the passive hit. So free flash, probably not gonna mean a whole lot. All right, I guess we're gonna listen to that for a while. And then we're going to see a lane swap. So Corki will not be in that Sivir lane alongside Braum. And how will teams react to this? There is a ward in that brush as Braum comes in for the invade. Greedy start here from SBENU, trying to start at Krugs on weak side, and they will be chased away. Meanwhile, no invade coming in from SBENU, so we will see a more complete jungle clear here for Ambition. And Poppy actually going to head just directly into the lane and see if she can pick up some CS, so they know exactly where Soul is.
And Wraith is still just messing with Flawless right now. Obviously not going to be able to take anything away as far as these camps go because the smite is still there for him, but that's doing a really good job of delaying this jungle, and that's going to get Ambition that much further ahead with Cuvée as they are working their way through that bottom side.
Now in typical lane swaps, Cuvée should be heading up to actually burn down this turret. Instead, he walked into lane, took a few CS, 3 to be precise, and then now is joining up with Ambition in the jungle, but it's going to be a little bit of a delay when it comes to tempo on the tower push. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for Samsung. Certainly a very minor advantage given over to Cuvée. He has that level edge now and a slight CS advantage, but there's going to be a pretty high price to pay depending on how fast Soul can get over there and what exactly Cuvée is going to do, how long he's going to stick with the Elise. It looks like the answer is going to head up now, so.
Yeah, they're both just going to run straight down there. And all Ambition still at the Wolves, clearing out these camps. Cuvée joining his team at the moment. But it looks like this is going to be a faster push onto the turret for SBENU so far. And of course, with that Sivir, with that Ricochet, that increased attack speed that you get, they're going to go through this tower much faster than a Corki can possibly do.
They will, so. I don't think they're going to get much of an edge here. But you never know. Sometimes, depending on how the wave bounces off the turret, you can find yourself with a nice little lead on your top laner. trying to burn down as much as they can right here before this goes through. Flawless and Nuclear sticking around as Soul looks like finally they are going to back off while Soul deals the rest of the damage. QV up here with some caster minions.
It's going to be pretty close. Looks like QV can deny a couple extra minions.
Yeah, QV actually, but his wave is in a much better state than the one in the bottom lane right now, so this should be good for Samsung. It is still slightly pushing towards the SBENU tier 2 in the top side, but it'll be close, and QV is going to get some time down here. Ruin the wave, as is Soul, looks like everybody just about at the same place. Ambition actually coming out and helping with the push, so they are going to just shove it all the way down, or as much as they can.
Yep, secret there, level 3 Alistar, still pretty scary, so showing some respect and backing off. Don't want to get poked out, get that headbutt pulverized as they push too far towards the tower. So they back off. Looks like we might just have a 2-tower swap, however, for both sides in the top and bottom. Keeping it pretty standard. Soul not able to get that little hit off for JJ.
Yeah, the problem here is they didn't actually go get the red buff out of SBENU's jungle, and they just decided to back off instead. No Rift Herald, no nothing, so they're going to send Poppy down into the bottom lane right now, into the Gangplank lane after they reverse the pressure, but nobody is in the top side right now to delay SBENU's push. Flawless with a really awkwardly timed recall, though. That means he's not going to be available for any kind of pressure. Meanwhile, GP is late, Poppy already down. So this should be a faster turret for Samsung.
Yep, getting up there, 3 members push this one through. So should be able to take that with relative ease. We can see, of course, because of the swaps coming out, both of these AD carries going for the call build. This is just becoming very standard, so.
Yep.
Looking for that extra little burst of gold after they get those 100 minions.
Why not? Why not go for it? If you're not going to be fighting anybody for a while or even making these lane trades. QV down here. Braum backed off, so it looks like we are going to have approximately the same turret timings with 2 members from each team on the remaining tier 1s.
Yeah, not too much else to take from here. Samsung could move over and take this dragon, but they don't. Yeah, they don't quite know where Flawless is at the moment, but if they have any sort of idea that they should just rotate over and start up this dragon. Looks like they're going to go back, however.
Yeah, unfortunately Ambition had already recalled, so he was not there to try and take the dragon immediately afterwards, despite the fact that he could have tanked it with some of these spiderlings. A little bit of weird recalls, I think, here from the junglers in this game to this point. The recall timings that mean that they haven't been able to really maximize it. Uh-oh.
Crown has to throw out the ultimates, a root down on Assassin. Nice cleanse got him out of the frozen tomb. Takes a bit of damage, but he's going to keep it even. Only loses out a couple CS there.
Not really a big deal.
Yep. So Assassin with a pretty good aggression. Flawless just not quite close enough to follow up, and of course not level 6 either, so couldn't throw out the cast and try to solidify that kill for them. But he's going to back off, get that Catalyst of the Protector, and move straight back into lane with the teleport. So going to be a scaling Lissandra, of course, with that Rod of Ages as he gets ready to complete that in a little bit.
Everything so even after all that lane swapping. Each team just trying to match pace, at least with the turret trades, and not sending too many people for a hard push. And surprisingly, even though 4 turrets have gone down, we have seen neither the Rift Herald nor the Dragon die. That is a bit of a rarity. Everybody playing super conservatively.
Yeah, we typically get those traded out almost immediately. But going to be some delay on those objectives. We've been seeing some later, in some of the games we've been seeing very early dragon takes, but in some of those other ones we've been seeing very, very late ones, sometimes as late as 17 minutes for the first dragon to go down in this last week.
Here we go. Finally Ambition sweeping through that side of the jungle, trying to deny GP as much as they can. GP still level 4. He's not going to have much wave cleared here besides that, and he's not going to hit anything with it.
Doesn't even time it properly, so the minions don't even get hit, but we can see the double split is coming in again on these tier 2s, so we might just have a triple tower swap between these 2 teams.
How far are they willing to go? That is going to be the main question. It looks like we are going to see some recalls. Is SBENU really going to go for an inhibitor turret right here? QV already in that bottom side. Remember, Lissandra could dive this in theory with the TP, but no, they're going to hand QV over the farm instead. Core JJ denying a lot more CS to Soul, so this should be a pretty healthy advantage for QV. considering the time they bought. SBENU, I think, could have pushed down harder and tried to make a play for that turret instead of just handing Cube a bunch of farm.
Yep. So we'll be able to pick those up. I believe we saw, where did we see that trade last? Was it the Rox SKT?
Rox
game?
SKT,
yeah,
game
it was,
one.
Yeah,
and
the beginning of the Rox SKT game, and Rox really played that well. Crown, though, getting engaged on here by Secret, pops him up, he flashes away, but the rest of the team is there to collapse. Throws a tube down on him. He will fall. It's going to be Nuclear picking up first blood. Nice moves by SBENU.
Nice moves indeed. Now Poppy has to come into the mid lane. And to defend this, they don't really have any wave clear there whatsoever with Corki on the recall. So they're going to buy some time now for Soul to farm up in that top side and get moving on this gangplank. And that was a well-coordinated gank attempt there from SBENU, playing around the cleanse being down and coming from behind with the Alistair so that we'd have to use flash away and then straight into Sassen's hand. Great first kill for Nuclear.
Yeah, really solid stuff. And all it cost them was just the 2 flashes to get over the wall. So SBENU going to be pretty happy with that trade, especially after getting so much damage onto that tier 1 mid as well. If you get one more pick, they might be able to just force their way in, especially if it's on to Crown again. Get rid of that line wave clear, force their way onto that tower, and find themselves with a serious advantage. Right now, it's just going to be that first blood gold really separating the teams, so keeping it pretty even. You see the Rift Herald went down. It's going to be picked up by Samsung. Ambition going to be rocking the buff.
And the nice thing here, though, is Sassen with that farm lead. Of course, Core has one on the Corki, but that is
20 CS up.
That is going to be mitigated, of course, by that kill onto Nuclear. It's nice that Sassen with that teleport has just been able to be in lane and farm just a little bit better. Core trying to come up into this mid lane, not really there with the Trinity Force power spike yet. This may be a little early to try this.
Yep, well, Sandra, of course, is going to have really good wave clear, even at this point. You got the Glacial Path plus the Ice Shard to throw out, so works through those minions relatively quickly, especially with those casks being thrown down by Flawless. So this tower not really in any danger to go down. Yeah, but so far this is just looking really good for SBENU in the early game.
The Samsung's timing was also just quite awkward because they hadn't really pushed the minion waves in the side lanes up enough to make a very convincing play, easily countered by SBENU. And they could have spent that time instead using Corki to push bottom, get his Trinity Force, and then actually join up in the mid lane with the Varus. So a little preemptive. Samsung is, and we talked about this coming into this game, they've shown some of these weird timing issues though. They don't seem to know the item power spikes the best. And they're having some trouble again here today. But now that the waves are in a better place for them, we'll see if they attempt to punish some of these flashless players and Secret and Nuclear on the bottom side. They've got some good pink boards. No one there to follow up, though.
Not at all. Some vision coming out from Samsung around this dragon. Likely want to snatch that one up for themselves as quickly as they possibly can. Vision roaming mid, looking for a pick on Assassin. Going to get spotted out by these wards, though. And that's one thing we haven't really talked about so far. SBENU's had pretty good vision control this entire game. That vision in that bottom side of Samsung's jungle, allowing them to get into the Raptor pit unseen and get that first kill on the Crown. Good stuff. Push, though, into this mid side as the tower goes down to half HP. It's going to draw out the cannon barrage from Soul, so Global down as they try to hold on to this tower. So far, it's just going to be Soul and Kube still duking it out in that top side of the map. See how much longer SBENU is going to be able to hold on to this turret.
Yeah, they have to do something about this bottom lane wave, though, for Samsung. And that was the right time to group up and start to chip down this tower. You see Poppy all the way towards the inhibitor turret. And they had the other wave past the river by the time they started to group. Still without those items, but that's about all you can do in that scenario until Corki goes ahead and moves the wave back out. SBENU going to take this opportunity to try for this dragon. A little bit risky. There is no cannon barrage. Samsung could fight this.
They could. It's already down to half HP. Ambition coming in. He's going to spot that ward. Don't think he knows that this is really going on, or at least not how low it is, rather. But it goes down. That's going to be Flawless smiting it away. So good stuff here from the side of SBENU, even on gold just about. But now that buff going to be racking up that extra 6% in stats for the side of SBENU Sonicboom.
Now the A-ramming begins.
Everyone file into the mid lane. Here we go.
You alternate who's going to be A-ramming at any given point in time.
But that means they can't recall, right? Now they all just have to sit there and it's either die or don't buy anything.
It would actually make this game probably a little bit more interesting at this stage. Instead of push side waves, everybody groups mid, and vice versa.
Just enter into a gentleman's agreement before the game starts or in the champ select. Just, hey, no one recalls.
That actually did happen in League of Legends history. Famous MLG finals where...
oh, gosh.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, MLG was a long time ago.
Where I think it was Dignitas and Curse decided that they were just going to ARAM. It was immediately before the World Championships, and they didn't want to play a real game. Great finals, great times.
These were also the days where I believe you could just change your name, so you would get players not using their actual gamer tags. You just go into the client and just change your name to whatever you wanted. You see though, Cat's gonna get thrown out. Wraith's just kind of getting stuck to that wall. Flawless takes a bit of damage, has to back out. That's going to be the Chain of Corruption coming in. Heal pop by Nuclear to keep him alive. Cannon Barrage comes down. Not gonna find too many people, but Sauce and TP's in on the backside. Going to lock down Kube. The Frozen Tomb goes through. He's gonna fall. Flawless finds the kill. Secure on this backside, maybe going in on Ambition as he waits for the cooldowns to come up. He's gonna draw out the flash away. Wow, Flawless almost going down to that piercing arrow. But all in all, it's going to be a 1-for-0 in favor of SBENU. 2 kills on the board.
Yeah, that started with an absolutely terrible explosive cask from Flawless, which really didn't do anything.
Bubbling, is that you?
Yeah, didn't bring anybody into the fight, really, just kind of knocking people away. But it was saved in the end by Sasson, having a good teleport flank and being able to get on top of Cube, who does not have any MR items.
Oh, Wraith,
what are you doing there, B?
Don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to get a replay of that, but I'd love to see. Oh, it looks like he's just
killing a ward.
He's trying to kill that ward. Sasson's just like, hey, what's up?
Sasson didn't even have to really use anything right there. Had no ultimate, but still secures the kill. And you can't be there. You can't be there by yourself. You just you remember that fight you just lost in the mid lane? Yeah, that means you can't stand there.
That was really bad decision making.
It's actually surprising because Wraith has been frankly one of the better supports this season. On point. One of the highest warding supports as well.
I think he's the only one in the top 5 MVPs for his role from Samsung. I don't think anybody else is in their top 5 for their respective role except for Wraith. So like you said, uncharacteristic mistake. Just a little too greedy for that 15 gold.
Yeah, just not worth it. I know you want to protect that pink ward that you've got there and deny the vision. And that's the price you pay. They are only 500 up. And now, everybody mid.
It'd be less than 500 up though if I got that ward kill. Looks like turret might be going down though. Crown and Core JJ chipping away at it. Not quite going to be able to finish it. One more Sheepfrog auto attack. Could
just do it.
Get it.
Just do it, Core.
Just go for it.
Be a man, Core. He's afraid of Flawless, which is a reasonable thing to be afraid of. A Gragas popping over the wall and then casking you. You just see Flawless has flash, so he could easily get that in theory.
Yeah, flash in the body slam, of course, to get him over that one. But the turret will go down finally. It's still dead even gold, even with the turret advantage for Samsung. So just much more solid play by SBENU so far in this match. I mean, Samsung went down to the 8th place team, maybe going to go down to the 9th place team today.
Well, I don't think so, but we will wait and see. We will wait and see.
That's true. We've seen SBENU throw bigger leads.
I really like SBENU's team composition, though. They've got great zone control for this Gangplank and the Sivir to go off in the late game.
It's a great mix of burst and consistent damage from the Sivir. So these team fights are really great. You know, you have the displacement, the engage displacement with the Gragas cask, as well as the disengage. So there's a really well thought out and rounded team composition from SBENU.
Yeah, and the problem too is Cube is now going for an Iceborne Gauntlet, and that means he's still not going to be protected from the AP burst coming in from Lysandra.
Yep.
So really, I don't know about this build. At least Ambition does have an Aegis here. They're going to try and take this, but they've got to keep playing on the map because SBENU's team fighting strength late is so powerful against what Samsung has to offer. That Lysandra flank is absolutely deadly to the Varus and to the Corki, and you combine that with the crit ricochets bouncing their way off of Cube or off of Ambition into the backline or Braum, and you have some problems keeping your Corki and your Varus alive. They're great at poking, but this is not a good team for actually team fighting right now, so they need to keep on those turrets. Samsung's win condition really is sieging and continuing to stay ahead in map pressure and taking towers.
Well, next step there could be the first dragon pickup for them. It's going to be spawning in 15 seconds. And I'm sure that Samsung want to be able to acquire that one for themselves. SBENU going to be looking to add number 2 to the tally.
It's really hard for them to take away this dragon from SBENU.
Yeah. Basically need a miracle steal over the wall from somebody like Core JJ or Crown.
Well, they can just kill it. As long as SBENU is there, which they're not. Obviously, Sasa does have his TP available, and so does Sol, but they need time.
He's TPing in already. Really far away, however. Comes into that pink ward over by the red pit. Don't think he's going to get spotted until he gets closer to this dragon pit. Coming around the sides now. They do spot him out. Here he comes. Roots doesn't go in on the claw, actually, but gets the ultimate away from Crown, as well as the flash.
And Wraith's ult, too. That was actually a super good glacial path right there. Allowed them to really take a nice advantage, get 2 ultimates out, and they still have the flank if they want it, but looks like the recall from Sasa not going to make that possible. He's not going to stick around. Samsung is going to have a really hard time trying to push up onto this turret and get reliable damage down.
Solid stuff there by Sasa.
Crown just flashed too, so
yeah.
I don't know. This is SBENU doing a great job this game of making the plays. They have that Rift Herald buff. They're trying to use it, but they need to be super cautious. They don't have wards on their top flank. They do now.
And it's hard to deal with all this wave clear that's coming in from both Sol with the barrels and Nuclear with this Ricochet.
It's really hard to siege against SBENU.
Yeah, you can see the Essence Reaper's already been completed by Nuclear, as well as the Zeal towards that Static Shiv. So he's got a good amount of crit chance so far, 20%. Going to be, or more than 20% now.
I really think SBENU has, at least compositionally, has a lot of answers to what Samsung's doing. They have an extra teleport. They're going to have a split pushing advantage. Sol can simply go into Qvei's lane, or even Lissandra can go into Qvei's lane because he doesn't have any MR, and then just continue split pushing. They also just have better wave clear in the side lane, so they can push these waves and control the side waves better. And they, like you said, they have the wave clear if Samsung groups up to siege. They've got the backline damage, they've got the flanking potential. SBENU has pretty much an answer to everything that Samsung can do.
The Cannon Barrage is getting ready to come back up for Sol as well, so even if they do leave one of these lanes alone, they can just clear out all the minions underneath that tower with the Cannon Barrage. So a lot of flexibility for playstyle as far as SBENU is concerned. Pretty solid. So they do take a little bit of damage on that tier 2 in the mid side, but otherwise SBENU's still looking pretty healthy.
They just have to continue to play around the dragon. That should be SBENU's choice right now. You already have a couple of dragon stacks. You can clear out the sideways faster, which means you can control vision in the river easier. And therefore, just play around the dragon. You have great scaling with the Sivir and the Gangplank. Just be patient. Don't take these fights. You don't have to. Don't get poked out. And as long as you get deep wards in, you can continue to teleport in behind them and shut down their poke line.
Interesting decision, actually, from Nuclear. And I think we saw him do this last week as well. Goes for the Phantom Dancer second item as opposed to the Static Shiv. So
that is interesting. I really like, I prefer a praise build of Essence Reaver, IE, Static Shiv, because it's just one more way to hit the backline, right? I think it's really, really good to be able to Static Shiv proc and then Ricochet onto the backline, especially against Samsung's composition where you know they're going to be tanky, and if you can remove the backline, basically, if there's no more damage at that point, you mop up the front line afterwards. So it also prevents them from sieging because you just Ricochet one of their tanks, hit the Static Shiv, and then they get chunked and can't stay any longer.
Yeah. I mean, we can see right there clearing out those minions. Cannot be reliant on the Ricochet, has to use Boomerang Blade as well just to get through all of this. So, interesting build. More interesting to see him repeat this one instead of going against Shiv second. I thought we were going to see that once the Steel came in.
Shiv is also just good for wave clear against siege compositions. Yeah, I think that perhaps the Phantom Dancer build could be good in certain situations, but this is not one of them.
You can see, though, good damage actually onto this tower. So Samsung still pretty strong with their siege game. That turn getting ready to go down, and just a few auto attacks from Core JJ would do it. Package got burned as it was getting ready to expire. Saucin is sitting in base looking for a TP flank, so we might have an all-out fight breaking out in this mid lane. Oh my god, look at that hit coming through. Nuclear is getting caught by the Cocoon. The piercing arrow finishes him off. Now Flawless way too far forward, gets locked down by the ultimate from the Varus, and he falls. It's going to be Ambition finding the kill. And just like that, Samsung take their first solid lead in this game.
And Flawless too. That cask was so bizarre because you know the Elise has the repel still. You're not going to be able to get anything out of that situation. If anything, you should just ult them away from the turret and try and keep it alive, but they didn't have everybody there to clear it out. Now Samsung wants to leverage this into a Baron, and that would be huge.
Lincorn's going to be the cannon barrage thrown down by Soul. Of course, there's no smite available, so the odds of a steal are slim to none. They're not going to be able to get it. Ambition smites it away. Now Saucin really far forward. It's going to fall. First two had to be used on Kuve. Can't even get the kill. Now Secret on the run. The Q from Wraith not quite going to land. And that could be Secret getting out with his life. But just like that, Samsung was looking a little bit in favor of SBENU, take a very firm lead in this game.
Yeah, taking a look at this replay too.
That's a beautiful catch on the Nuclear.
Yeah, Nuclear, long range poke, both skill shots hit from Core JJ and Crown. Absorb the missile, but he spell shields the missile. Ambition just knows that he has nothing left.
He
hits the
had
Cocoon.
heal.
Yeah, hits the Cocoon. Just really greedy play from Nuclear, trying to get a little bit more mana and just completely underestimates the Cocoon from Ambition and the follow-up crowd control that can happen afterwards. That's the thing about Elise with the Braum and the Varus is like, if you get hit by one of those, if you get hit by Chain of Corruption or by the Cocoon or get a Braum stun, you're not moving. You're not going to have a chance to flash. You have to use that flash really early on and not be greedy with it.
Yeah, but also just odd to fight around the turret like that because it was literally one hit away, one Trinity Force proc hit away.
Yeah, just let it go.
From going down. So.
And a Baron empowered poke composition like this is so brutal.
Now Saucin gets grabbed up. Takes a lot of damage, down to half HP, and just like that, Samsung with his Baron-powered minions forced their way through that tier 2. So all of the tier 2s falling, just the inner towers now inside the base.
The thing about poke compositions is that they are the hardest, probably, composition to take a Baron with, but they are the best composition once you have the Baron.
Yeah.
Because...
See Flawless going in, Saucin going to come into that back line, maybe, no, does not follow the Glacial Path as he gets locked up by the ultimate from Crown. Several members of SBENU chunked out below half HP, have to peel back. That's going to be the inhibitor tower going down. Saucin barely missing that Cocoon. Does not get caught. He will be able to escape with his life, but this is going to be the inhibitor line being broken at just the 26-minute mark. Meanwhile, Kuve splitting up this top side, getting some damage in onto that top tower. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to take that one quite just yet, but this could be Samsung backing off and getting their first dragon of the game.
Yeah, this is what they should do. Just take the inhibitor, take the blue buff, and then go for the dragon. Stop the dragon stacking, and make sure that there's not going to be any kind of comeback window here for SBENU. But as I was saying, poke compositions, they're good because they're good at sieging, obviously, but when we talk about taking Baron, they have a lot of problems because usually they have long-range burst and not a lot of sustained DPS, which is definitely true of Varus and Corki right here when we consider like what would be a good fast Baron composition like Kog'Maw or Ryze or Cassiopeia, a lot of sustained high single target damage. But in this particular case, when you have this kind of poke comp, once you get the Baron, and it takes the other team forever to clear out the minion waves, you're basically just buying more time to hit them with your poke. Yeah. So it's really, really good with the Baron buff because you get that many more skill shots at them and then force them off the turret. It increases the odds that they'll have to go back to Fountain, and that's why SBENU giving up that Baron really hurts. Really, really hurts.
It's also just great layered CC potential by Samsung, and we've seen that in action. Just the Cocoon.
They played it really well.
Yeah, you can just Cocoon into a Glacial Fissure, into a Poppy ultimate. There's so much that they can just stack on top of each other to keep people locked into an isolated area and then just burn through their HP bars. We've seen that in action these last couple team fights, and where it looked like SBENU might be able to take game 1, it's looking like it's probably not going to happen unless some miraculous swing comes through in their favor. But Samsung looking much more methodical and concise in the latter half of this game.
There were also just a lot of individual misplays. Here's the last hurrah for SBENU.
Yeah, Saucin coming in the backside, can't get onto Crown, but gets locked down immediately. Has the Frozen Tomb himself as he takes down half HP. The Zonius comes out as well. Nuclear on the backside. Looks like he might go down, flashes away just in time for JJ. Going to be the one to finish off the Lissandra as well. And SBENU are just scrambling to get to the fountain. Secret falls. Samsung come forward. Super Creeps knocking down this Nexus tower already, getting ready to fall. Looks like they're going to be able to finish this one off with relative ease. And this should be the game ending just before 30 minutes. As we can see the rest of SBENU not able to even push out and try to contest this take.
Crown has some of the best Varus ult accuracy I have seen. That was crazy to hit that Lissandra coming in from the side. He read the flank perfectly, stopped her in her tracks, saved his back line, and now they're going to win the game.
Yep, that's going to be the Nexus falling at 28.5 minutes. So Samsung getting quite strong in the latter half of that match to take down SBENU for game 1.
Only 8 kills in that game, Achilleos. Really low kill, but actually quite exciting. There was a lot of back and forth play, and Samsung, they took the small advantage that was given them. They outplayed Nuclear. He used his spell shield too early and then flawless misused the cask. Those two mistakes cost SBENU this game.
Yeah, it was really good play for them early on, especially by Saucin with that mind game as he TP'd in behind the Dragon Pit. That was really solid, but the pick onto Nuclear, just posturing too far forward, absolutely gets destroyed. We can see the damage figures here. Crown doubling the damage of pretty much anybody else in the game, not even just on the side of SBENU.
He's a really good Varus player.
Yeah, that was really
That needs
awesome
to be banned. You can't let him have that anymore. He's too good. He can stop your flanks with the Varus, so that actually makes it even more effective for Samsung to run these poke and siege compositions, because if you don't need to peel for him and he's so good at peeling for himself, there's not a lot of hope for you to be able to get into the back line.
Yeah, just wonder what they're going to give up as far as the bans go if they want to take away the Varus, because they banned Nidalee, Kindred, Graves, all bans against Ambition, and now you have to show some respect to Crown as well. So this draft, not sure what they're going to do when we come back for game 2.
Exciting stuff, though. It's good game from Samsung. I was worried there for them for a little bit, but they pull through and they really punish SBENU on a couple mistakes, take the Baron, and smoothly snowball that game.
Yeah. Solid performance by them. So SBENU looking pretty good at the beginning of that one, but just misstepping and playing too far forward at times cost them their lives. We'll see what happens when we come back from game 2. We'll be back in just a few minutes.